Hey Float Magic fans, it's Shawnee coming to you from Float Magic. We're pretty excited. Today we're starting our first podcast. We're going to roll these out every couple of weeks and just give you guys some great tidbits on what we do, why we do it, some science behind our therapies, just kind of what we're getting out there to our community. So we're really excited to get this started. For today's podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about why we are here, how Float Magic truly came to be. Throughout my life, I have always had an interest in helping others and people's troubles. My grandma always told me growing up that I borrowed troubles. It was something that I was fascinated with, why people respond to things the way that they do. And that life curiosity had really led me down a path of mental health, helping others, nursing career, all that process that truly, as I look back over, has brought us to where I am today. So why Float Magic? Float Magic was a concept of pulling together therapies that would allow for us to truly take the time we need to get back in touch with ourselves, the opportunity to set everything aside so we can come back in and heal ourselves. Our bodies are pretty amazing machines. We have a lot of opportunity for self-regulation, self-repair, but if we don't put our bodies in that circumstance to do so, that's not going to happen. That's not going to be our regular mode of operation. We tend to operate in high stress levels in today's society. That's a pretty common process for people. And we wanted to just create a space here that really allowed people to leave that stress behind at the door. It's been fascinating because when people walk in, we can kind of see their whole body just relax. They're very different once they walk through that door. It's a safe place here. So we feel like we're accomplishing that goal of leaving all that stress outside. So, but what it is and why we're here is just that. I wanted tools put in place so my community could have a place to come relax and just be with themselves, men and women alike. There's not a lot of opportunities for self-care for men outside of like golf courses and hunting ranges and shooting ranges, or whatever it might be. You might go out fishing. Those things are all wonderful. Those get you out in nature. Great activities. But there's an opportunity to come into our space and really take that time to connect back to yourself. So our main therapy, flotation therapy, is truly why we came into existence. That's why we're called Float Magic. Flotation therapy is the practice of removing as much stimulation as possible so that you can be in a sensory devoid state. Some people refer back to that as a sensory deprivation, and that is semi-accurate, not completely accurate. You do still have your own personal sensory. You still hear your heartbeat, you still hear your breath, and it can be a very meditative, relaxing process. So how we set that up is we have rooms that have tubs in them, tubs of water that have a solution of Epsom salt and water. And the solution is quite impressive. It's over 1,200 pounds of Epsom salt. It's not just like your bath water. It's pretty dense salt water. And there's only about 800 pounds of water. So that is what makes you so perfectly buoyant. Everybody floats at Float Magic. No matter if you sink out in the lake or out in the ocean, you're going to float here at Float Magic because of that dense solution that we provide in those waters. Once you're in that tank, we have the ability to turn lights completely off, or you can keep a little bit of light on. The idea is that we're removing all sensations and all stimulus. So having the lights completely off is the best way to experience that therapy. And something that we encourage people to do when they come in is try it with the lights off. But if that makes you nervous, we have starlights in our pod cabin. We have tub lights. We also have lights that we can leave on at the foot of the tub. So those are great options. We've done our best to create an environment that is free of sound. Really took a lot of effort in building our walls. We have double thick walls with this layer that's called MLV, or mass loaded vinyl, that catches the vibrations that come through. And our doors are designed to kind of have a seal that drops down once we shut those doors tightly. So you really have an opportunity to remove a lot of that stimulus and just be in this space stimulus free. And then that heavy solution allows you to just float. So you don't have gravity on your body. So that sensation is removed as well. You're in this solution, your body gets a chance, your spine gets a chance to decompress. Your joints don't have any pressure on them. Expectant mothers enjoy that a lot because we can provide flotation devices so they really get that relief of that baby pushing on their spine anytime they're sitting or laying down. So to be in an environment where you are completely zero gravity is quite the sensation in and of itself. You truly feel like you're floating. That's why it's called flotation therapy. So that therapy lasts an hour. That's what we recommend. We have a lot of clientele that also choose to do the 90-minute floats, which is wonderful. Anything less than an hour, 45 minutes, people still can get a pretty good float in. A half hour is just too quick. So that's why we only offer the hour time slot, is we feel like that truly is the best way to get in here and get yourself in that practice and allow yourself, if you want to do more, that's a good starting point. So what are the benefits of flotation therapy? Well, there's a lot of benefits, which we'll talk about in depth, most of our therapies and other podcasts, so we can really go into the science behind it and why. But a lot of the benefits that people comment to on flotation therapy is they have this intense relaxation point. They feel a lot more serene when they come out. Their body, any aches or kinks or pains, they're absolutely alleviated during the float. They're pain-free during the float, and then after they see this prolonged sense of recovery and relief. And a lot of people have referred to it as a very spiritual experience. Only listening to your heart and your breath can be super meditative in itself. And people have come out with just this sense of connecting back to source, whatever that source is, whatever your higher power is. They really have been given that opportunity to connect back to that. So it's really a beautiful thing that we get to witness often. So flotation therapy is our main therapy here. We also have sauna therapies. We have IR sauna and traditional Finnish sauna, which is your steam sauna. We have a lava rock heater in there that allows for you to do the whole interactive, pour that water on there, and you get that steam, that crackle, that sizzle, all that fun stuff. We also have massage chairs. Zero gravity, again, massage chairs. A lot of people love to add those on to other therapies. We have plenty of people that come in and just do a massage chair. It's a 15 to 20 minute process. Super great thing to do on your lunch hour, right after you get done shopping, before you have to go home to face the kids or whatever you're dealing with that day. It's a great opportunity to come in and just take a few minutes for yourself. And then we have our Novathor. Our Novathor it delivers photobiomodulation therapy. Again, we'll go into that in other podcasts so you guys can get a real good depth of what that is. But essentially, it's red light with near infrared light. And what sets our bed apart is it is laser diodes. They're not LEDs, they're actual lasers. And that delivers such an intense light that penetrates our bodies that individuals feel an extreme sense of relief for joint pain, muscle aches. We have a lot of people who are their doctors are seeing improvements in macular degeneration in MD. That's a very hard thing to treat, but essentially that light is reducing oxidative stress in your body because it's activating the mitochondria in our cells. So you see a whole host of benefits from that because it truly is cellular regeneration. So like I said, we'll go more into that. Novathor is our second popular service here, and we have the only Novathor bed in the surrounding 4 states that are accessible to community. There's a lot of private beds owned by sports organizations or very wealthy individuals because these beds are not cheap, but we have the only one in all of Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana that's available for public use. So we're very proud of that fact, and we're very grateful this community is using it and seeing the benefits that they are. So in addition to our other services, we have practitioners, we have massage therapy, we have Reiki practitioners, facials, we have the Optimal Brain Center here, and then we will do classes as well as far as meditation classes, sound baths. We've had some guest practitioners come in doing sensory ceremonies and different types of ceremonies, drum ceremonies. So it's pretty great. We also can host corporate and group events. We've housed a couple of companies that have come in and totally treated their employees to our services. We've also hosted some bridal parties, some gatherings. We even had a bachelor party. So it's been fun to watch those come about. We're also going to be adding some services. So what's upcoming is our salt cave. We're super excited about that. It's called halotherapy, and that's going to be coming hopefully by the end of August. And then we also will have a plunge tub added to our traditional sauna. What plunge is cold immersion therapy. It's been made popular by Wim Hof, a lot of people who are optimizing wellness, absolutely trying to biohack into longevity. Cold immersion therapy is truly a great benefit for our health. So we're super excited to be adding that as well. And then we've been talking about a Zen garden since the time we started, and that Zen garden is going to be completed as well. So a lot of our classes, a lot of those types of therapies will be moved outside since the classroom is going to be converted into that salt cave. So back a little bit more on why I felt these therapies were so necessary. My history, I was a nurse working in rehabilitation, physical rehabilitation. And when I saw our patients, the ones who recovered best were the ones who had almost prepared for their illness, right? If you don't take time for your wellness, you're going to have to take time for your illness. And so there is such wisdom in preventative medicine and preventative care. And I knew from the beginning of my nursing career that is a space I wanted to be in. I wanted to have the opportunity to teach people, to educate people on what preventative measures they can take to live a more fulfilling, well, disease-free life. And so that, and part of that, a big part of that is our mental and emotional well-being. I mean, we're holistic creatures. There's many aspects to ourselves. And physical aspect, there's a lot of emphasis and a lot of focus on what to do physically to take care of ourselves, our nutrition, our exercise. We're starting to understand more about how to really take care of our emotional and our mental well-being. And that's truly where my fascination with flotation therapy came to be. I wanted to go back and get my primary mental health in my nurse practitioner. And mainly so I could help people discern how to take things that had happened to them, trauma or experiences or circumstances, and transform that into purpose and use whatever pain that they were given into motivation and fuel to living a more fulfilled life. In my own personal experience, any pain that I've gone through has motivated me to be better, to do better, to bring something better to my family, my community, my world around me. And so through that process, I really wanted to get into that space of preventative medicine. As I was going back to get my nurse practitioner, it was so apparent to me that I needed to do more. I had an opportunity to study flotation therapy again, and I had studied it like 8 or 9 years ago, and was first introduced to it back then. And it was fascinating. It was something I always thought, oh, I got to do that. I mean, that's so cool. Look at all the things it's helping: PTSD, trauma, brain trauma, and TBIs. It was pretty great what I had read before, but this time there was so much more information about how flotation therapy is truly putting people in a space of optimal living. And I dove deep into that. I went down the rabbit hole and truly came across the desire and the drive to bring this to my community. I felt like and I hadn't even tried it yet, and I felt every community deserves to have a center that provides this type of relief. And I felt extremely driven and motivated to do that for my community. So that is how we got here. And through that process, it was a fascinating study to read all about it. And I just was soaking everything up. I went to trainings. I went to conferences. I just did everything within my power to get my hands and my mind wrapped around the knowledge and the information that I needed to deliver a really well-balanced center for my community. And I found the building, got everything lined up. Here we had this pre-construction party in February of 2019. Or 2019. No, 2020, excuse me. And then COVID hit. We hadn't even gotten the permits back, and here we were dealing with this unknown pandemic. Well, there's blessings in the timing of everything. And that is what this process of building this center showed me. Through the pandemic, I was forced to slow down my process, right? Before, it was going to take maybe 3 to 4 months to build this center. It took us a year to get everything in its place with COVID. And what a blessing that year turned out to be, because what I did is exactly what the center is supposed to do. I was forced to slow down. I was forced to get back in touch with my intentions. I thought through the experiences that the clients would be having as they come into our space, and really was able to think through how that was going to affect what I put into this space. Color choices, curves of the walls, furniture, where the light comes in, how my office is open. I've got glass windows in my office. All of that was not part of the original plan. All of that, the round walls were a little bit, those were there. But all of the little extras and all of those really fine-tuned details came about through that process of me slowing down. And I think that's a beautiful illustration of exactly what these services can do for you. Is it forces you to slow down so that you can think through the details of your life, so you can think through the intentions of why you're doing what you're doing, and make sure that purpose is aligning with who you are and where you want to go and where you want to be. that building process was probably the most enjoyable process I've ever done. I mean, how often can people say that, right? How often can people say, "Oh yeah, building that business was absolutely enjoyable"? I can say that. I loved every minute of it. Every construction worker, every individual who had a hand in building this center did it with joy, did it with excitement. And they knew the importance of having the right intention behind what we did. And so when you walk into this space, it's a collective effort of everybody's intentions and everybody's energies that put into this space. The other beautiful thing about this building is it was many years ago, a lot of people remembered it as Coppell's Browsville. It was an Army surplus store. So we've heard lots of stories about people walking in and going, "Oh my word, I remember buying my first pocket knife here," or "I bought my favorite backpack that I always took hiking," or "I came here with my grandpa all the time." I truly feel that energy stays in a space, especially positive energies. And there was a lot of that in this space. And a lot of that energy has been revived through what we've done and people coming in here and reminiscing about all the good things that they remember. And it's a little bit of walk down history here in Twin Falls. So we're pretty proud to be able to have a little bit of that. Even though the building looks completely different, we still have a little piece of history. We're located in the historic district. That was on purpose. I really did want to be in the downtown area for this building and this business. Absolutely love downtown Twin. I love the businesses in downtown Twin. I love the business owners. Super grateful for the pioneers who really have worked hard to make downtown Twin a reality in our community. And I wanted to be a part of that. And so being in the historical district with this steel warehouse, turning it into what it looks like, a modern, brand new building, that process was an absolute joy and something I'm super grateful that I had the opportunity to be a part of. The other beautiful part is that this area continues to grow. I mean, across the street, we've got the high-rise apartments going in, which has been super fun for us to watch. Across the street, we have the first food hall in all of Idaho. The Bedekes just really knocked that out of the park. Super fun to be surrounded by these types of innovative processes that are making Twin Falls and our community bigger and better and a great place to live. So having those close by and accessible has been a real boost to our clientele. We have people coming over, walking in after they've had some ice cream or a nice dinner over across the street and wanting tours of our space, and we're happy to do it. That's one of my team's favorite things to do, is to show off our space and let everybody see what's coming and see what we've created. So we always encourage people to stop by and take the opportunity to see what we have. So that's just a good roundup of where we're at, where we came from, why we're here. I'm so excited to have the opportunity to dive deep and talk a lot about the science. I'm kind of a science nerd. I love research. I get all caught up in it, and I sometimes use big words, but I try not to all the time, like photobiomodulation therapy. Like, yeah, that just rolls off my tongue, right? So it's those are things that we're really going to dive into and talk about, so that I can deliver that information in a way that creates understanding and invites people in to try these therapies. So we can't wait to share it with more of you. We've shared it with a lot of you. Our first year and few months has been phenomenal, and we thank you for that. We're beyond grateful for all the support we've been given. It's truly been a miraculous and beautiful thing to watch this community embrace such a fringe outside therapy. So we want to thank you for that. So anyway, we look forward to getting out there with more topics, and in the meantime, do whatever it takes to stay salty. Thanks, everybody.